Alright, hey guys, it's Marine here. I'm bringing you the KV4-K. Now I am reviewing this tank because a person who works for Wargaming, he decided that several of us should get this tank so that we can preview it a little bit before the end of the current campaign, and since Gamescom is going on, why not? Now I'm going to start out here looking at the armor model so that when I get into a little bit more of the review, you kind of get a good idea what I'm talking about. Now, first off, you'll notice right away, the tracks are everywhere on the side. And that is pretty much key towards what this tank can do. Now, it says that the front armor is 200, but that's only in this area here and in this area here. This area in between is only about 180 straight on. This is only 165 straight on. And so it only gets lower tiers can really tank a lot frontally with this tank. It's when you get to side scraping and actually using that armor on the side of the tank that this tank really does start to shine. So the ideal angle is pretty much coming out like this, where you get about 240, 250 up here close, but you want to try to bait people into shooting your sides, where with the spaced armor, it just gets absolutely insane. As you can see, there's almost no weak spots along this area, especially on the side of the tank. It's only on the turret that you start to get a little bit of weak spots, but that's here, right along the flat portion, underneath the mantle. The bottom of the mantle and the top of the mantle are all pretty strong. And right out here side of the gun, there's a little strip that's about 170 effective, but it's all very, very RNG dependent. There's a little strip here, there's a little strip here. This is a no-hit zone. The middle of the mantle is 230. Just be aware of that. If you're shooting AP at this tank in another tier 8 heavy tank and shooting it directly into the mantle, it's going to be a dice roll. The cupola is actually somewhat effective with 190, so low pen guns are not going to have a very good day. And if you're an inaccurate heavy tank, you're going to have issues trying to pen the outside as well, because it very quickly goes to over what standard ammunition can get. In the top of all the armor is 50 millimeters, so you're not subject to the Russian bias 122 overmatch. Now, I did have a battle where a T-57 was actually shooting down at the top of my turret into my commander hatch, and this area here, if they shoot here, will kill your commander and damage your ammo rack. I did not lose my ammo rack, but it was damaged. Okay, so that's just kind of what the armor layout looks like. The back of the tank is pretty flat, pretty weak, 100. But you can kind of trick people. It looks like the rear of the KV5, so you can kind of trick people into not shooting it. Now, I will say as well that this tank is absolutely great at side scraping from any angle, be it reverse side scraping, a little bit closer to this angle, or coming out like this. This tank is going to be very, very tough to beat, especially with just your standard tier 8 heavy tanks and lower. The higher pen guns will go through it, but that just happens with most tier 8 tanks anyway, so it's nothing that you guys will not be used to. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the garage. Alright, so let's go ahead and get into the KV4 here in the garage. It is an absolutely hideous machine. So yeah, it's she's ugly, but at the same time she is absolutely gorgeous. The middle turret placement of this tank makes for very interesting, just with the tactics you can deploy with it, especially if you're trying to work two corners at once. You can move forward to side scrape from one, move back side scrape from the other. It's glorious. You can sometimes get confused about which way is front. It just sometimes looks like the back of the tank could kind of be the front. It's just kind of odd. Overall, this tank has definitely been enjoyable. What is the solid selling points of it? Well, it is absolutely the gun. Currently, I have 2058 DPM with 0.35 accuracy, 2.66 aim time. The -7 depression is all the way around the tank with 15 elevation. Reload time of 9.33. It is absolutely phenomenal for a Tier 8 heavy tank. The gun itself, you're looking at the KV4 gun. So you have 227 AP, 289 APCR, and 62 HE. The HE has come in handy, especially with the Scorpion event going on. That's been a lot of fun. The 289 APCR has been absolutely fantastic to have, especially dealing with hull down Jagdtigers, Jagdtiger 88s, E75s, VKBs. That's been absolutely phenomenal to have that kind of pen with a reward tank where everybody is honestly gunning for you. The turret we saw in the garage, it's nothing special, 360 view range. The engine's pretty beefy. You have 15% chance of fire. When we were running food earlier on this account, we did catch fire twice, and so I would not recommend necessarily running food until you get firefighting on your entire crew. You do have 15% chance of fire. I'm honestly not sure right now where the engine placement is. I have not looked into that. Overall, tracks, who cares? And radio, you've noticed that sometimes tanks drops off the side, but it honestly doesn't matter. As far as equipment goes, I go with the Verticus Stabilizer Mark II. You have the large vents, the Class 3, and you have the medium caliber tank gun rammer, which is rather nice since the other two pieces of equipment cost so much more. So only 200,000 credits for that. The ammo capacity on this thing is absolutely mind-boggling. You're looking at 60 AP, 30 APCR, and 13 HE. I mean, that's just, with my current setup, I can only fire 96 rounds in a 15-minute match. So, I mean, you run food and you get yourself down to needing the perk, which is the adrenaline rush. Okay, so maybe you'll then be able to fire off all your rounds, but I highly, highly, highly doubt it. This tank is capped at 30 kph. Even going downhill, I tried to ram an IS-3, only did between 350 and 400 damage to him going downhill. And so now what you're looking at is, do you want this tank? Do you want the IS-5? Or do you want the Chieftain T95? Honestly, I do not enjoy the Chieftain T95. It's okay, but I've been HE penned on the cupola too often. The upper front plate, the turret face is good. That's literally it about this tank. The gun handling is poor, DPM is poor. Everything about it is, except for the APCR speed, which is the fastest in the game, I believe, at 1500, is it's honestly just a letdown. It is better than the FE4202, so you have that going for you. I do think categorically for how I play, this tank is the worst of your choices. And so now you're looking at the IS-5 and the KV4. It's been my experience that the KV4 performs better in pub matches. So if you're going to be playing a lot of pubs, grinding out crews in pubs, grinding out credits, I would pick this tank. You will get more bang for your buck than you will the IS-5. It is much more survivable with better module strength, with the exception of maybe your crews, than the IS-5 is. The IS-5, if you're going to play a lot of strongholds, I would pick this tank up instead. It still has that IS layout with a pike nose, and so the upper front, if you're looking straight on, it's going to be pretty strong. But your ammo rack is down here. Especially if you get penned at this angle, it seems to take it out even more. If you penned up here, you can take out your driver. The top of your tank is overmatched, just like the IS-3. But this thing has the speed in a stronghold to be able to pick up that cleanup damage that the KV4 absolutely will not pick up. And so, again, if you're playing a lot of strongholds, I would pick up the IS-5, but if you're going to be playing pubs, I would pick up the KV4. The sum of the parts, after playing the KV4 a lot, the IS-5 somewhat, and just reminding myself how much I do not like this tank, I do have to say the KV4 is probably better, just based on the strength of the gun, with the accuracy, with all the gun characteristics. I mean, this premium ammo is APCR, which is far superior to the heat that the IS-5 has. And so I would take this tank if you're going to be playing a lot of pubs over the IS-5. It will be somewhat boring to play, especially if you're top tier, you're going to just absolutely dominate. Coming around a corner like this, they're going to shoot your sides. They're all going to bounce. They may get lucky. They may know your weak spots. They may load APCR, but you're still going to bounce a lot of them. With my Ace Tank here, gameplay that I have, I bounced over right on 6,000. It's just an absolute bully when it's top tier, and the gun allows it to continue to deal damage even in tier 10 battle. Overall, I have enjoyed this tank. I really want to thank Vegan Zombie for allowing me to play it, and I'm rather disappointed that we were not able to pick up the first marks of excellence. As you can see, we've played 52 battles. We're at a 57.69% win rate with 2100 average damage. Armor use efficiency was 1.11, so we're bouncing more than our HP every single battle. And with our marks, we had actually gotten it over 63, but it dropped down to 61.9 after a string of 3 and 4 already battles successively on Prokhorovka and then Live Oaks. And so that did not make for a very, very good time. Anyway, guys, I will be getting up some more gameplay on this tank here in the next few days, but I want to do a quick review that I could get up and post here on my YouTube channel and post on the forums. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed.